You're going
Yeah.
to wake up now and pay for this. But I don't remember the last time I didn't take sleep medication because I've always had this underlying anxiety. And so I don't even really know how the two are intertwined. It's just now that I'm sober, that I'm getting off of sleep medication and realizing like I can trust my body with these natural cycles.
This is Rock Bottom with Ryan. No sugarcoating, no filters. The pain, the chaos, the truth. No bullshit. Just recovery.
Sober Strong Apparel
isn't just lifestyle wear, it's battle gear. Heavyweight tees, hoodies, and gear for the ones who draw a hard line. Clean, sober, no compromise. We rep sobriety like a badge of honor, and every piece you throw on says you're part of the crew that doesn't.
Back down.
Every order fuels recovery, with 10% donated to treatment facilities, because we don't just talk about it, we stand on it. Hit SoberStrongApparel.com and use code ROCKBOTTOM at checkout for 10% off.
Welcome to Rock Bottom with Ryan. Enjoy the show.
All right. Welcome to Rock Bottom with Ryan, here with my co-host Rachel, and we got Linsey as our guest today. Linsey, would you like to kind of give us a little background about yourself, where you're from, what you do, all that?
Sure. Well, me in a nutshell, if you were to know me my whole life, you'd be like functional adult, right? Like talented and gifted kid, was in Miss USA. Donald Trump's hair actually came into my dressing room that year. Little side story. But was a news anchor at a very young age. I always got all the love that I needed from my family. I met the man of my dreams when I was 22, had two beautiful kids, had an idyllic life as a surgeon's wife. I went on to teach international yoga retreats. And then 2 years ago, I filed for divorce. And I'd always been a functional alcoholic. Like it was going to catch up with me at some point. It got my dad at 62. It was a long line of stuff that wasn't going to end well. But the events that happened last year, all the pressure that I was under, all of the life circumstances, all of the pain that I didn't think I could get to, it really just was like pouring gasoline on a match. And so this idyllic life that I've been living for 42 years, I'm starting from scratch. I'm in my first year of recovery and we hit some real bad lows. My kids were there for them. My mom went through a lot of pain. She's in the other room right now. But it's really my goal to get resources out to people who aren't as lucky as me. I work for myself. I could take time off work. I could get my savings out and spend all my money to save my life in February. I went down to Tucson. I had people to take care of my kids and I knew that they were in good hands. But I'm a smart person and I couldn't be addicted by myself. I needed help. And I don't think everyone's that fortunate. Really where I am in life now is I'm starting this podcast called A Beautiful Rebellion. And I want to make the best resources possible available to people who just want their hand held. Just like the regular person at home that's like, this fucking sucks. Life shouldn't be like this. I want out of this. And that's where I'm brought today. I'm going to launch that podcast next month and I'm really, really excited about it.
That's awesome. I'm excited for you. That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you going to have
learn a thing or two from you guys?
Yeah, of course. No, we're glad to have you on the show. And we want to hear definitely like what the background is and what led to you kind of getting to the point where it became such a problem. You know, how did it start off as kind of like a social thing for years and then just escalated to drinking alone? Or how did that happen? And were there any like traumas involved that caused any of that?
Yeah, so I grew up in Des Moines, Iowa. Like I went to a party school. If you went to University of Iowa and you didn't tailgate, if you weren't out in the stands, you know, drunk by 6 a.m., then you weren't a real Iowan. But in all honesty, like I went to a party school and that was just part of what you did. If you weren't drinking, what were you doing? I don't even know what people who weren't drinking were doing. I guess they were in the library or doing something constructive.
Right.
But it was just like those party days of my true friends who I'm still friends with from then. The alcohol never went away. The drugs did. The partying here and there and doing the recreational drugs, those went to the wayside. But I kept having to drink every single night in order to tame my anxiety. And I didn't realize at the time that it was actually fueling my anxiety. Here I thought I was tempering it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Literally.
It was fueling it. And it was a cycle to where if I didn't think that I could drink somewhere, I didn't want to be there. I didn't
Yeah.
think it sounded like fun, and I needed it to sleep. That was the big thing, is I didn't think that I could get to sleep without my couple glasses of wine. And that's when it starts to get problematic. It switches from this experience enhancing connector to this crutch that
Yeah.
Eating it.
becomes physiologically dependent.
Dependency right there. And I could relate to that. And I have a question. So it helped you fall asleep. What about sleeping in through the night?
No,
Because
when
of
the last, yeah, we talked about this earlier. You're having some insomnia issues, right?
I'm having it now, but when I was also going through withdrawals, it was horrific. I didn't really sleep much for the first month of my sobriety, but also it would help me fall asleep. And I slept a lot when I was in active addiction, but a full night's sleep, absolutely not. I would wake up around 2, 3 in the morning with my heart palpitations, and then I would be like, oh, I have anxiety. I have an anxiety disorder. Let me go take my medication, instead of realizing, no, you're fueling it, just like you said. So yeah, you hit that on the nail.
Yeah, you're getting that blood sugar dip, right? What do they call
Yeah.
that? There's something in Irish like drinking where they call that, like, it's like the 3 a.m. hour. It's the bewitching hour where all of a sudden your system is
Yes.
like, hey, screw you. You're
Yeah.
gonna wake up now and pay for this. But I don't remember the last time I didn't take sleep medication because I've always had this underlying anxiety. And so I don't even really know how the two are intertwined. It's just now that I'm sober, that I'm getting off of sleep medication and realizing, like, I can trust my body with these natural cycles,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
even if you can't for a night or two, you don't want to get wrapped up in having to depend on something for for your own natural processes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you
Yeah.
catch yourself waking up in the morning and needing a drink? Did it get to that point where like withdrawal symptoms would pop up?
Yeah. So what happened was it really started to catch fire in early 2024. My ex-husband, I filed for divorce. I was flying back and forth to Phoenix for another guy who I was with for the whole 2 years that I was in this divorce. And my ex was going after full custody for no reason. I'm a great mom. I've always been in every part of my kids' lives. And he just wanted nothing to do with me. He didn't want me to have anything from the marriage. And we were going to go to court for 3 days. And I've always been a very sensitive person. Fight, flight, freeze. I'm probably going to either freeze or I'm getting the heck out of there. Well, this whole year I was so traumatized by like even the prospect that my kids could not be with me, that I couldn't do simple things. I was in freeze mode the entire year. I couldn't put together a budget for like temporary alimony. I just felt like a child. And so in order to numb this feeling, I was prescribed Xanax by a doctor, and then I was pouring Chardonnay more often than I used to. I used to just have it at night. Well, that was getting to be during the day. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know anything about Xanax and alcohol.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
go together.
Yeah, they make
If
you
you're
black
not
out.
honest with your doctor about how much you drink, you're probably not going to end up remembering what you did. And so there were some
Hmm.
embarrassing lows that I hit where those kind of interactions just made me not only feel stupid, but really lose track of memories and time in
Oh
2000.
yeah. Oh yeah, I could relate. I could relate heavily on that. I was very dependent on Xanax and alcohol at the same time. So
Yeah, every
yeah.
night I'd go out after I got prescribed Xanax. Of course, we all lie to our doctors. They're like, "How much do you drink?" And I'm like, "Oh, 5 or 6 drinks a week, maybe." When it's like 10 per night, and it's like next thing you know, I'm popping Xanax before I go out to the bar, and then I come back, wake up the next morning. I'm like, have to ask people what happened. I only had like 4 or 5 drinks at the bar, but it would make me brown out or black out every time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I started misusing, like, here I was on Xanax. I was realizing that wasn't working. My partner at the time was starting to see that I was depressed. I was operating at 100%. And he didn't really know how to deal with me going through that either. I had no idea I was depressed. I'd never been depressed before. I'd never been through divorce before. And it's nasty. Like,
Yeah.
I did not know. So by maybe fall of last year, I was shaking in the morning if I didn't have a drink. And it got to the point where it wasn't just I want to check out. It was my body is going to freak out in fear, in anxiety, and impending doom if I don't have something to just even keel these nerves. And
Yeah.
that's a terrible place to be. That's a terrible place to be, especially when you're trying to be present with kids and not. You're just an absent parent at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you get that 20 minutes of like dopamine high after that like chug of beer or wine in an empty stomach. And then you go and try to play with them and they know something is up with mommy. I get it because I'm a mother as well. And my son noticed so much of my drinking and blackouts and me sleeping so much because being on Xanax and alcohol. And then I would use wine because wine culture with moms, right?
Yeah,
So
socially acceptable, right? What's in your glass? It's Chardonnay.
Yeah, nobody
yeah,
judges you.
I'm cooking and I'm drinking wine. I'm in the kitchen, I'm drinking wine. I'm not just drinking a glass of wine. I'm literally drinking a bottle and a half of wine.
Oh
So
no.
to the head.
Oh yeah,
Gotta
Lindsay,
love
I
our
got
moms and our white wine in our glass that no one knows, how much.
Hold it
Might as
like
well just be the
that. Like,
chalice with the whole bottle in.
even me as a guy, I didn't feel very badass when I switched from liquor to wine, thinking that was gonna like save me. I'm like, oh, if I switch to wine, I won't drink as much because I don't like it. And then it evolved from buying bottles of it to chugging out of the bottle to buying bags of wine, like taking them out of the boxes. And I'd be shaking so bad in the morning that I'd keep the bag like next to my bed or whatever and like hold it up and open the spout of like Franzia or something just to get the
oh my
shakes
God.
away. Like I'm like, oh my God, I'm like required to drink this wine now just to get out of bed. Like it was horrible.
It's
Yeah.
kind of interesting because I always thought with my dad's side in alcoholism, like, God, I don't think I'll ever be able to stop drinking. I think that's going to be my demise too. And it almost makes me, no, it doesn't almost, it makes me really grateful actually that everything came to a head last year and that I took this addiction that would have slowly killed me and just freaking ripped the Band-Aid. I mean, I had no idea it could go so deep. I mean, it's
Yeah.
literally hell. I
Yeah.
feel like I
Yeah.
saw hell multiple times and almost died multiple times this year. And it was life changing. Like, had that not all happened, I would have just slowly been killed by this terrible disease.
Yeah, for sure. And what was, and I know the podcast is rock bottom, but what was your moment that you would say was your rock bottom that felt like this is it, I have to stop, I'm done, like your sobriety date? Like, what was that moment for you like?
It's hard to say. There are a couple blows I want to take you through. But what was hard about my sobriety was the guy I was in a relationship with was like, "Why can't you get sober? Why can't you get
Yeah.
sober?" So I was trying by myself last fall, like, okay, I can get sober, but I couldn't stay sober. And I didn't know why. I wanted to for him. I wanted to for my kids. I didn't want to live that way. Didn't want to be on any sort of drugs that I had been doing that year because
Right.
it really felt like it was making me stupid. And it was just a really bad way to live. Like every bad quality in a person that could have come to the surface in me came to the surface last year, which I think is a
Mm.
blessing because I really got to work through a lot of stuff, but I couldn't get sober the first couple times, maybe
Yeah.
3, maybe 4. And I kept remember him saying like, well, if you can't do it this next time, it's over, blah, blah, blah.
So you would have periods of sobriety and then fall back into it? Is that usually what
Yeah, but
happens?
I couldn't do it for like more than a week. I mean, I just couldn't do it. I was flying back and forth between my kids in the Midwest and
Right.
then in Phoenix. And we were leading a very fun lifestyle. We'll just put it that way. I mean, we had a lot of fun. We traveled all over. We had a ton of friends. So there was never the right environment. I mean, I was in a kind of a toxic environment for someone who wanted to get sober. What really hit home for me was after I came out of treatment, I couldn't get sober myself. I promised him that I would go to treatment if I couldn't get sober myself. And I went to Sierra Tucson. And as soon as I got out of Sierra Tucson, we were having relationship troubles. He didn't want to be with me anymore. And I had decided to take my daughter. I hadn't seen my daughter, my oldest one. I had decided to take her on spring break. And as soon as we got to the hotel room in Las Vegas, I am not doing well emotionally. I'm not emotionally sober because I'm heartbroken, right? Here I've done all this work and things aren't going to pan out, which is so great that it didn't because this is really a love story of me and myself at the end of the day. And I'm so glad
Mm.
I see that now. but it was hard at
Right.
the time. And I remember getting so drunk that my daughter told me we couldn't leave the hotel room. And 3 days later, I asked what day it was. And she's 15. She had just turned 15. I've always had great relationships with both my kids, my 15 and my 12-year-old, my girls. And here I had relapsed so hardcore that it was completely traumatizing to our relationship. And I looked at her and I said, even though her dad and I weren't on speaking terms, I said, I think we need to get your dad out here and I think we need to get you home. So that was the rock bottom where when he got there and he saw the state that I was in, he and my mother were talking on the phone and agreed that I couldn't stay there. And when they took my blood alcohol and took me to the holding tank, not the psych ward, not the ER, but the really fancy, no, not fancy at all, terrifying actually. It's like the holding tank with no windows where 100 of us all have cots and homicidal people are watching you sleep and suicidal people are being, yes, it
Yeah.
was terrible. But they
Yeah.
took me there because my blood level was 0.322.
Yeah, it's like a detox
Wow.
room or whatever.
Yeah. And so I'm really grateful because I don't think I would have made it would I've gotten my way and had him go and leave me in that hotel room when he took my daughter. I don't think I
Yeah.
would have made it. I
No.
wouldn't have made it actually, because I know that I would have kept drinking. So that was really a pivotal moment where I was like, this has gone way too far. Not only have I harmed myself, my relationship, like all of these good things I had in my life. The most important thing in my life, my relationship with my daughters, were now in crumbles.
Yeah.
So that's humbling, right? Like you have to start
Yeah.
looking at yourself and say, when am I going to stop inflicting pain on other people because I can't deal with my emotional issues?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah. And I want to let you know, as a mom, I actually remember a look on my son's face, a very similar situation where this was close a couple months, I think, prior to me quitting. But I remember I was at my dad's house. I was shit faced. I was still chugging wine. My dad had no control. Nobody ever controlled Rachel when she was drinking, Ratchet Rachel. She was not told what to do, but my son was just dropped off by his father because we were switching off days. I barely remember this, but I do remember my son's face. It was time to leave. I was going to drive drunk home with my son. I was wobbling. And I remember looking over at my son and his lip was quivering. There was tears in his eyes. He was about 9 years old at the time. And he started doing this. He was like, no, no, no. And he started backing up behind my dad. And he was like, I don't want to go in the car with mommy. I don't want to go in the car with mommy. And I remember I sat down at that very moment and I was shit faced, but I remember how upset I felt. And now that I'm sober, I still remember his look and I still remember that very moment. And that is one of the main reasons why I hit my rock bottom, because I never want to see that look again in my life.
No, no, the resilience of the relationships, like I can't tell you how grateful I am that now I gave them time after that. I said, here, you
Oh
need
yeah.
time away from me with your dad. But there was a custody fight after that. And I did have to go through a lot of legal stuff.
Yeah.
Now it's finally back to normalcy. And it feels like a short amount of time. It is actually a pretty short amount of time because it's just autumn and this was in the spring.
Yeah.
And everything seems back to normal. So it's a constant reminder every day of like, I can't take my foot off of the self-discipline. I can't take my foot off of like this solid foundation that I've made, because I relapsed a couple times after that. I mean, it was really hard to get a solid foundation. And now that I've got it, I can't go back. Like I can't lose that all again. I have way too much. You
What
guys, my life is awesome. I love my life. You would love my kids. They're weirdos just like me.
That's awesome. I mean,
Right. I get it.
you guys both being mothers and stuff, I'm sure it was first priority when you guys got sober was to, establish those relationships in a healthy way again, I assume.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, Rachel, but there had to be some dialogue between me and my kids about what are some boundaries that you have with me? Do you not, what do you want to hold a boundary that if I ever drink again, you don't want to be at the house? Or and it was cool actually. They came and just said, Mom, you just cannot lie. If there is something, we'd rather you come to us right away and we deal with it than
Mhm.
have something terrible happen again. So I feel like the communication and stuff was really key. I don't know how old your
Yeah.
kids are. How old are your kids?
Well, my son will be 13 in February, so we don't have like a boundary or anything like that. He's a very old soul, a very genuine intellectual person. I didn't teach that to him. It's part of his personality trait. And when I told him I was sorry and I quit drinking, he said, "Mom, you don't have to apologize. I love you and I know you've gone through a lot." So I was like, "Damn." And then as time goes by, he just basically has held my hand as a best friend. I never told him I ever want to relapse. I never have said that. I feel like drinking, Gabriel. But there was a time once where I was at a not an airport, but a train station, and they had a bar there, and I was in early sobriety, and I missed my train and I felt like shit, and he was with me, and I kept looking over, and he grabbed my face, my son, and he goes, "You focus right here," and you look me in the eye, and he was like, "If you don't feel okay right now, it's okay. We could go walk across the station if you feel like you need to go have a glass of your red grape juice," because that was my Cabernet. And he has just been a huge support. So we haven't had to set boundaries. I don't I can't I do take this whole saying one day at a time very seriously, but I will not drink again. It's not, I don't want to ever go back. But I don't have that boundary where I have to set with my son because he's my best friend. He has held my hand through, I hate to even say it, but through addiction. He grew up with me. I had him young. And now I'm sober and I get to live the teenage years with him, which is very hard because he doesn't want mommy all the time. But I have the shame and guilt of I have the shame and guilt of what, 10 years of his life I was using, and I missed out on, toddler ages, a whole bunch of stuff due to blacking out. Can't get that back. But what we can do as moms is appreciate the time we have now and build the new memories, and just like you said, cherish the new bond that you're having with them now.
Yeah. And it is hard to think because you're not thinking about how you're hurting other people when you're in active addiction. All you're thinking is, I want this pain to stop or like make my feelings go away. And when I look back and see the things that I could have ruined had things gotten any worse, I was in a major car accident in May and I should have died. I mean, if you look at the car, and I remember crying with my mom and thinking that my daughter's 8th grade graduation could have been soured. I mean, there was like this big to do. She'd gone to the same school that I'd taken her to all through kindergarten. And if anything would have happened, if I would have hurt someone else, if I would have died, if that could have changed the whole trajectory of her life, And so I see that selfishness, even though there's more to that story. And it wasn't like I was out just blatantly driving drunk, but that's a story for a different time. That really drove home too, that every choice that I make can rewrite or write this life that we have together.
Oh,
And
yeah.
how wonderful was it that I got to go to the graduation and be there and be taking
Yeah.
pictures and start the second half of my life clean.
Yes, 100%.
Rachel, do you have any questions?
I just relate to you a lot, girl. I don't have questions. I could tell you you're not alone though. As a mom, I know we sometimes, even though we're on this good track and we feel good, I know I could speak for myself, but I could definitely say that there are times that I'm just like, damn, man, like I said, like I can't get that toddler stage back. I can't get that memory back, or that last basketball game that he was in that I showed up to blackout in front of everybody. I can't get any of that back. So I understand how, the feeling of that, the mom guilt, but I also understand the feeling of building new memories with them now. It's beautiful, man. It
And you
really
guys,
is. And being present.
and I'm not a parent, but like I do realize I can relate a little bit about what you go through when you get sober and you start to just appreciate a lot of the little things, the simple things like I'm assuming taking your kid on shopping or, running errands or going to their games and stuff, all the things that were kind of blurry the last, 5-10 years or whatever. You can see everything now and actually appreciate it. So I get that vibe when I'm doing anything, even just walking my dog and stuff. It's different not having a kid, but I mean, I just appreciate everything.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
like you said,
Yeah, oh, sorry. I was going to say that it is a gift that something knocked me in the head when it did, because I've always been really present for their life. We've always done amazing things. Like, shoot, after I taught a yoga retreat in Italy, we didn't have anything else to do for the rest of summer. So I took them to Switzerland and France, and we just drove. Like, we just drove a little car. We didn't know where we were going to go. We just always go on these little adventures and stuff. But I really lost myself in those couple of years when I was transitioning from relationships, and I kind of unplugged from them, in a way where I was in survival mode in both relationships, actually. And so for all this to come to a head and for me to realize that I had been disconnected not only from myself and from source, but from my kids and my family. Um, I was at the Jonas Brothers concert with Aria, the little one, last night.
Yeah.
And I just put my phone away, right? Because it was like, it's like, okay, I am actually here and I get the gift of not wondering when this is going to end or blah, 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 blah. Like, and that sounds so cliche, but it's true. Like, I was there.
Yeah.
And
I get it.
not many
I
people
get
can
it.
say that they are where they are.
Yeah. Being present is the best part of sobriety, in my opinion. Just remembering everything, enjoying everything. Like, even when like bad days or like little obstacles come up in front of you, it's like they don't phase you as much as they used to when you were drinking and stuff. Everything looked like a gigantic problem, and now it's not.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yep.
It does phase you, or it does phase you, but you're able to clearly headed go in tunnel vision and handle it,
Yeah, look at how your
So,
thoughts, your emotions, and your actions are all kind of interplaying, and where you could take
yeah.
that pause and take back your power. Embody it when you want to embody it.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
like you said earlier that you said you have this foundation laid down. Can you describe kind of what your foundation is, all the things you do to like stay on track, stay sober, remain, keep being a good mother, make sure that you don't slip up ever again, that kind of thing. What's the foundation?
Yeah. So I think what led to my relapses was, one, emotional pain. I was not holding good boundaries as to like what I needed in my life. And I was allowing certain people in that just weren't good influences on me. But I was also trying to, sorry, can you say the question again? I had a good answer and it just.
Oh yeah. You said you kind of built a foundation in your sobriety. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So earlier this year, I spent 28 days in Tucson. It went fantastically, but I was overly optimistic about the fact that I didn't need to do like outpatient afterward. Like, I already took 28 days where the rest of my friends were living their lives and going on vacations and having all these experiences without me, and my kids were going on field trips that I wasn't able to chaperone on. And I was so eager to get back to life that I cut corners. I should have gone straight to outpatient. I should have done it because I needed that framework. And I was so busy building the house that I didn't look at the bedrock. So the last relapse, I really sat down with my uncle. He's amazing. He's my godfather. He's got my whole life on film. It's ridiculous. He was a news anchor before I was a news anchor, and he would just follow me around with that camera. So he's been there my whole life. And we just sat down and we talked about how I'm going to build this. And it was just, we're going to do this very slow. I'm not someone who can sit still. I'm not. I want to go to the Arctic Circle tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, there are things that I want to do and I want to do them yesterday. So for once in my life, I had to agree with someone who knew me better at that moment, because I could not see myself clearly than I knew myself. Someone who wanted the best for me, and surrender and be like, I am going to be here. The last place I wanted to be was Des Moines, Iowa with my family. It's the last place I wanted to be. Now it's the only place I want to be. You know what I mean? Like, I took that much time. I found a community of people who knew that there were like sober chicks like me, my age. I had no idea.
Right.
Like, you would have told Linsey, if you would have told me this time last year, you will be sober, you will be in AA, and you will be loving life, I would have paid you so much money to be like, no, I'm.
Yeah, I
yeah.
just said a year and I had the exact same thoughts. I'm like, if you would have told me a year ago, I would be freaking actually enjoying life, maybe even liking myself at all. I would have laughed
Right.
my ass off at you. Yeah.
I would have been like, get out of here.
It's a
Right.
beautiful commentary. I love that. Even like liking yourself. That's true, because self-compassion is what keeps you. what keeps me sober. But anyway, back to the foundation is just I had to go back to what I taught in meditation and yoga for years, what I taught in trauma sensitive yoga, which was to sit still and to be present and to just do the work, like none of the fancy stuff. And my God, it reaped so much reward so quickly that I almost didn't believe it. Right? Like I thought I was just going to be stuck in this mundane. I'm in recovery for months. It's going to be lonely. No, my life changed right away. And I started to see all the promises come true. And I could not believe it. I could not believe it was not bullshit. I really thought the promises were BS and that people just wanted me to dry out.
Same here. When I went in and like heard all the laughter and people enjoying themselves, and I was just like face all beat up and still kind of like trying to recover from being in the hospital. And I'm like, I am never going to be laughing about this. I thought the meetings would be depressing. And then like each month that went by, I just started to feel a little bit happier, and I started to see the promises come true little by little. And I'm just like, oh my God, there might be hope here.
Make it
It's
dark for
crazy that
AA.
what can be as good as it is. Like I thought AA was going to be a death sentence for sure.
I did not make it that far in AA. I do remember, though, my first meeting that I did walk into on my sobriety date, and I was hysterically crying in front of a room full of people that I never seen or met before, and they all embraced me. So, I didn't make it so far enough into AA where I could say, oh, yes, I got to see the promises work. I ended up going a different route. I went with a sobriety coach. That ended up not working out. Now I've been, I like to call it raw dogging sobriety.
Sexual
Hey, I could do that. I talk sexually all the time.
That's just
a
took
weird
a
turn.
drastic
So,
turn.
It just did. No, but in reality, I wouldn't just say it's like raw dogging. Like I'm not like just not doing anything and I'm vegging out. Not only am I the, co-host of this podcast, the community on Instagram has helped me so much, but also I'm very, very into discipline, motivation, and working out. And that has what kept me sober and sane. I would say the gym and moving my body. And just changing my whole perspective on alcohol in general, the poison it is and everything. I just completely shifted my mindset. Now I'm not opposed to AA again. I tried to go back 2 weeks ago, Ryan, and I walked into that whole fellowship of men.
Oh, yeah.
So they were
Fun.
nice to me. They let me stay for the meeting, but wrong place. I found it on the app. So I'm gonna give it another go. But yeah, I think no matter what you do to stay sober, as long as you are staying sober from the substance that was ruining your life, that's all that matters.
Yep.
Just put in that work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then have you had any like how many days have you been sober, Lindsay?
I'm not going to tell you exactly because
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a little bit, I'm a little bit
OC.
superstitious about
Oh,
it.
about
I'm in my first 3 months. So I've been sober for most of 2025, but
awesome.
I've had relapses.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now
That's
this
okay.
time, this is it. And I'm excited for this. There are some people I know who will be watching the podcast because it's going to be like a train wreck. Like, oh my God, this chick is literally in the infancy of her sobriety.
No, but
It's
look how you
okay.
just said it. You just smiled and said, "This is it." You're that.
Yeah.
The confidence is there. The hope is there. Like it's really good to see. That's probably different than it was a few months ago.
So I
Yeah.
used to when I would teach my weekly yoga classes, not to the sex trafficking. I did trauma sensitive yoga. I do that on a regular basis, but just public classes. I would always theme on the things that I needed to work on. Right? Like I'm a student. I'm not going to come and preach to you about what you should be doing. I'm going to come with lessons that I'm trying to synthesize right now. And that's why I think what you're doing here on this podcast and then what I want to do is important because it's the loop of learning. I mean, once you got the skill, if you can teach the skill, if you can continue to reinforce it with other people feeding you in knowledge and get yourself in the middle of that, I think it's the way that it's going to keep me sober selfishly. But
Yeah.
that's not why I want to do it. I want to see other people feel like they got their lives back, like I got my life back. I want to see
Yeah.
other people go into a courtroom and be like, I can do this without doing shooters beforehand. I can be brave. I am going to get my kids back. I am going to do the hard work and I am worth it. Yeah. I mean, this is fucking amazing. I'm so glad to be a part of your community too. Like, how cool.
I know the
Yeah.
people that meet on social media, which I'm new to social media as of 3 months ago, but just the support you get from people. I mean, I rarely would want to talk about my personal life online, but lately I've been doing some posts and stuff talking about some personal things going on. And it's just like the genuine support that you get from people that have never even met you in person, but you feel like you know them and you have that community everywhere across the world, It's pretty cool.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, shared experience is powerful. And, I don't know about you, but what causes me to use or overindulge or take myself to the place where I might not return is isolation and anxiety.
Yeah.
Like always, every time. And so when I found this online community right away, when I started getting sober, and it was so easy to connect with people, and we've got some good shit going on Instagram. I like it.
Yeah.
You guys are one of the best finds so far. And I'm
Well,
literally
thank you.
just started that page like a month or two ago.
Awesome.
Really?
Were you serious? Hey, the page is blowing up.
Well,
For real.
we just started filming the podcast. I really want to go and like rabbit hole into people's lives. So
Yeah.
I'm going into people's homes and traveling and doing all this kind of stuff. So it's still in its infancy.
That's so
So I
cool, though.
started the
It's
page. I didn't want to blow it up too fast.
gonna have a grand release of all these cool episodes where you interviewed people face to face. Awesome. So you go beyond topics, the recovery. You're going into stuff like you said, sex trafficking and stuff. And
No, that's actually something that I have done no, I don't do sex trafficking, Ryan. Let's go ahead and
no, I
let's go
didn't.
back.
I wasn't accusing that. I just
No, I know.
yeah.
To clarify, I teach trauma sensitive yoga to girls who have been in sex trafficking, and I teach people how to teach trauma sensitive yoga.
Are you gonna
But yeah.
bring that kind of knowledge into the podcast and discuss those kind of topics? Or
Yeah, we'll kind of see. I think it's really important to get. I've got. I did have. I've done a lot of work this year. I don't know about you. I don't know when you went through treatment or what kind of work you've been doing. I know recovery in general, no matter
it's a
what it looks like,
full-time
is
job.
time. It is.
Yeah.
And I've done like thousands of hours. And I just started thinking, who are the teachers that really imparted things that I think about still today? Who are the people whose stories I've heard or that I got to connect with that changed my mind about something? And I've been really lucky because I believe in it and I'm not as scared to promote myself anymore, because it's not about me. But I've been getting people who are just very willing and honest. And I don't know if you did you guys ever watch Extreme Weight Loss with Chris and Heidi Powell? Remember?
I've heard of it. I don't
Yeah.
think I watched it.
Like I just asked her. She's a friend of mine, and she's got a pretty big following, and she's just one of the most honest people I know. And her dad died of addiction. Her partner died of addiction, and she had some food addiction issues that she hadn't talked about.
Okay.
And of course, like she says right away, yes, I want to do this. So I just flew to Phoenix, and it's like there's people on who have a capacity to transmute this knowledge and this power and to show that, like, God, she kicks ass. She's not only weird, which is one of the main things I like about people, but she's super freaking successful. She's a good mom and she's overcome a lot. So I'm excited to see people come on board. And I think when you hear experts, you're going to know it's a different kind of podcast of what it's going to be, something that people can use throughout their recovery as though they have a friend, even if they don't have anyone else. And they're going to have good resources too, because I'm a journalist by trade and I don't want the conversation to end there. I want people to be like, oh, I'm interested in that or I need that. This is where I'm going to go. So we're going to do a lot of work in it. I hope that we can stay connected and I can have you guys on.
Oh, love to.
That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, would love to stay connected, honestly. You got a really cool story and like you went into good detail and really respect to where you are right now and like how honest you are about, being under 90 days sober, but having the passion that you do. Just like, it's so inspiring to anybody who's listening who is not giving themselves enough credit for having 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month or something. I was hard as hell on myself. I didn't even say like, oh, I haven't been sober very long until maybe 6 months in or something. But I was also struggling with it for the first 90 days. But you have like this energy that I wish everybody could probably feel and see, when it comes to just being in the early months of sobriety, because you've learned from those fallbacks, those relapses, and now you're just like on top, and you got that foundation that you built.
Well, right. I kind of don't even want time to go forward. Like
Yeah.
I remember being at 17 days and just being with my friends and being like, I don't even care if I never get past 17 days. Like I'm sober today. Life is freaking amazing. I don't want to wish away my life just so I have X amount of time
Yeah.
of sobriety. Like this is a fucking kick-ass day. I was
yeah.
aware, I was awake, I was connected. Thank God,
So great. So
Yeah.
something just clicked this time around. It seems like something just.
Yeah.
something
Like
clicked
it's
when
in
you
your
drive
eye.
Tesla at 80 miles an hour into a tree and you should have died.
And
Something clicked. You're
and
supposed to be here. When you survive that, you are supposed to be here. And
yeah,
I'd always spent my whole life wondering, in this existential dread, why are we here? Is there a benevolent God? Is this all some evil trick? I've really lived a fear-based life. And after that accident, it was like, there's nothing left to fear. I have almost died. I have lost things that are very important to me, and I'm still alive. And if you looked at that car, the person that my mom and we went to get the belongings out of the car the day after, she looked at me and she said, "You own the Tesla? You're walking. You own the Tesla." And we looked at it and my mom just started bawling. She just started bawling. And now I'm like, to be here, yeah. And that tree that I hit is a tree that I go by every single day.
Wow.
And I love that tree. I'm going to call it the tree of life because it reminds me that like that could have gone one of two ways.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really could have.
can I
could have.
ask? Was there might be a dumb question, but was there a lot of drinking involved before that wreck?
No, so this is where it gets a little muddy. I don't know if there was. I remember having one glass of wine by a pool. So I'd gone on a date, and it was with someone that I knew. Like I hadn't gone on a date with them before, but I trusted them. I knew them as a friend from before. And then I don't remember anything after that first glass of wine.
Wow.
Which is very atypical for me. Like I can hold my Chardonnay. Not
Yeah.
that that's anything to brag about, but this was very atypical. And what happened was there was a large gap of time between when I got to his house for that date and then when I went into that tree. I didn't have my cell phone. I had left it at his house. I have no idea where I was going. I have no idea. And that scares the shit out of me. But it also, I'm very careful because I'm not going to say someone roofied me or, because I don't know what happened. But friends of mine and some family members and people that I've talked to have been very concerned that maybe I'd put myself in a situation where, which alcohol does, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did put myself in a bad situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there too. You're not alone, girl. From woman to woman, I've actually been roofied. So yeah. I actually called my dad. I was roofied, but I was also like, I kept drinking. So I was very intoxicated, but I called my dad in the middle of the night and I was lost in a neighborhood and I kept screaming that there was a body in my trunk. I had no car. I don't know what I was talking about, but my dad jumped in the car and sped and he found me because I don't even know how he found me, but he found me and he kept yelling. And then when I got in the car, I was all scraped up. And then he goes, "Rachel, what body in the car?" And then I said, "The car's at home. I haven't been driving for over a year because I didn't have a license from DUI." And he was like, "I need you to open that trunk quickly though." And I did, and I was fine the next day. There was obviously not a freaking body in the car. But I was roofied to the point that I was saying some crazy shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I get
Wow.
it. Yeah, being
Frightening.
a woman, being anybody, you need to watch your drink around people in general. Like, you need to be careful, but that happened to me at a party around a whole bunch of people I thought I really knew. So I don't know where, how, when, but yes, I get it. I remember not remembering anything. I remember that feeling and being
Yeah.
so scared. And why do I have these scabs all on my knees? And why am I sore here? And this and that? And what happened? And yeah.
Got to be a frightening feeling waking up in the morning and being so disoriented and confused and being like, I know how much I drank. There's no reason I should black out like that,
Yeah. Yeah, which is kind of strange that like my last hurrah wasn't something that I went out and was like, 21 shots like I did on my
Yeah.
21st birthday.
Oh
And it
God.
literally was not anything glamorous, but it's okay. I had enough. I
Your
had
last
enough.
hurrah wasn't meant to be a hurrah. It was meant to remind you, hey, you're done. You're done, Lindsay.
Yeah. And so is your Tesla.
So is your Tesla.
Oh
Goodbye.
God.
Goodbye, Elon Musk.
Oh, rest in peace.
I'm sorry. So you're doing a lot of yoga meditation now to stay, fit and active, keep your mind in the right place. And you're teaching that to other people too, it sounds like.
Yeah, so I've always taught like advanced yoga teacher trainings, but I have a private clients. I like working with athletes specifically. So I have someone who does some competitive tennis. I have people who do yin yoga. So I have, a lot of athletes that do yin. And then I like putting together sequences for people specifically tailored to where they're holding trauma in the body and things of that sort. But my own practice is very simple. It's whatever I feel like doing on the mat that day. And I've stopped kind of going to classes. I'm not against it. I need to get back. But I did realize I was like, I'm in this transformative part of life where literally everything that my job, my relationship, my car, everything is a clean slate.
So what advice would you give to somebody right now, in a similar position or even, early on in sobriety or sober curious or whatever? What advice would you give to them?
You need to put yourself in the middle of recovery. I know it sounds stupid, but you don't need to half-ass it. One of my favorite sayings, my mentor, Tom, says victims don't stay sober. So if you're going to isolate, if you're going to feel sorry for yourself, if you're going to ruminate about how other people have adversely affected your life, you're not stepping into the power that you have to change your life. You are literally stuck in the past in an old energy. So I would say get out of that victim mentality. It doesn't matter if someone filed for divorce from you. It doesn't matter if someone died. It doesn't matter. Life is going to happen. You are worth doing something about it. And you need to go out and find other people just like you and hammer it out.
Oh
Discipline.
yeah.
Be part of the
Yeah.
community and get that foundation. That's what I would say at this point. That's what's worked for me. And getting rid of that victim mentality. I didn't even know I had it. Man, it's empowering. Because now I just focus on what can I do? I didn't like that quality on that person. Well, I guess I had that kind of too. What can I do with that in me? Yeah.
Well, that's something I haven't discussed in a while. Like after interviewing so many different people the last few months, this is the first time I've really heard the victim mentality thing come up. And that's such a true topic that needs to be discussed more often
Yeah.
because I had this poor me self-pity attitude for so freaking long, which just kept
Oh
me
yeah.
going. Like, I blame you for this. I blame my parents for this for 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I blame my ex-wife for this. I'm like, I'm going to keep drinking. But like, God dang, I needed to hear that. What you just said, it
Yeah.
just like totally makes sense. That needs to be like a
Yeah. I
whole
love
episode.
I
Does
love
be-
it.
it's hard because obviously a lot of us are in addiction because we're going through a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of strength to look at what someone else is doing to you and just look at it and say, what is my part in it?
Yeah.
It's the strangest experience because you want to say, screw you, look what you did to me, how dare you, poor me. But instead, you just end up cleaning up all the bad things about yourself and becoming a better person. And that's a
Yeah.
fucking ton better than, the other way.
Rachel, do you have any other questions?
I don't have any questions.
No.
I just really, again, like I said, from mother to mother and woman to woman, we related to some very serious topics and some very serious stuff. So thank you for sharing all that with us.
Yeah,
And thank
thank
you
you,
guys
Lindsay.
for having such a great platform where people can come on and feel that sense of community that we talked about and feel empowered to do something because it's hard. This is the first time a lot of people have done this. It's the first time I've done it, and you
Yeah.
make it a lot easier. So
No, thank you so much. You did amazing. You're natural on camera here. So, I mean, this is a
Yes.
fun interview. So fun talking to you. We got, almost 3 years of sober time in between the three of us. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, holy shit. When you
Yeah.
do the math on
Yep.
whoa.
So, I mean, that just says a lot. And I mean, we're here now and we were in the dumps, months ago. And that's so cool. So you guys honestly keep me going. And I hope I contribute to that too.
Well, I really appreciate you guys. Good to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Nice to meet you. Have a good rest of the day.
Nice to meet you.
Rock Bottom with Ryan. No bullshit, just recovery.
I kind of miss my news anchor day.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I read you were a news anchor and everything. That's awesome.
John McCain did look at my boobs while I interviewed him.
That's perv.
awesome.
How dare him?
I
That's
know.
awesome. Who gets to fucking say that though?
I know. Checks out my boobs on the podcast. That's kind of
They don't? I was checking out.
Yeah,
Is that
I mean,
okay?
of course. Yeah, that's the good thing about the podcast. You can have fun on it too. You can talk about serious subjects, but we can all look at the fact that we're here now. We're all three of us are sober. Yeah.
And so I just emailed my mentor in Norway. She's a psychology professor there. And she's a real legit yogi. Like, she lived in the caves with the yogis. And I just said, can I study with you? And so I think I'm going to head over to Norway and live with her for a couple weeks and see if I can't study this winter.
That's awesome. You
Well,
can
that
interview some
sounds
people on your
fun.
podcast when you travel there too.
Heck yeah. You think I'm going to go all the way to Europe and not,
Yeah, bring the equipment with you. That's what I want to
Yeah.
do. This is start traveling to people around the country and the world, and rent a little studio for the weekend and interview people. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
So
That's
what?
right. It is hard, with all the equipment, but once you got it down.
Yeah, exactly.